It's good to see you. Take a seat. I was going to say it's good to see you dressed down, but that's what you do.
That's what I do.
Modern company, modern ways, and that's the way you go, which is great. Listen, Bob, can I just start from, well, you've had a chance to listen in a little bit on this nation-building message. I can't quite get over the way in which, within a matter of 5 years or so, you've laid out a program, you've looked to implement it, you've looked to grow, and now you're saying, actually, no, we're going to really grow. We want more pace. We want it faster. We want it bigger. We want it quicker. We've just had on this panel representatives from companies that have been around for decades, eons. You've been around 5 minutes, and you're saying, no, we're going to be bigger. We can be as big as them.
Well, let me dispel the notion that we're starting from zero. Because I got here on the shoulders of His Excellency Khalid Madeifer. And so he did the heavy lift in phase one of Maaden's growth, built 2 industrial cities, partnered with Mosaic, partnered with Alcoa to build phosphate and aluminum industries, had a couple 100,000 ounces of gold already in production. So when I got here, I had a pretty strong foundation to build from. Also happened to get here at about the same time as the kingdom was really getting into the economic diversification model of Vision 2030 and realized that we could take advantage of the natural endowment of the kingdom. So the emphasis, the foundation was there, the emphasis from the top, the ecosystem was in place, the mining laws had changed. So a lot of the ingredients for nation building were here when I got here.
Okay.
So I can't take any credit for that. Now, what I can take credit for is the people in that audience that are on Team Maaden, that are energized, motivated, inspired to be part of this opportunity, make this impact and the national pride in capturing that and accelerating that.
And communicating that message is obviously important. We've got up here Maaden creating a world champion for Saudi Arabia. You've used the strap of unearthing tomorrow today. The messages are strong and clear, but you've got to act on that. We need the deeds. What are the deeds coming down the pipeline that will transform you in that strategic change you talk about?
Building on that strong foundation, we are deploying capital at an unprecedented pace for the industry. So we'll be deploying about 110 billion US in a major capital program over the next decade that will triple our phosphate business, double our aluminum business, and triple our gold business. And this isn't long-dated projects out through 2040. This is in the next 5 years. So standing up that amount of infrastructure requires huge amounts of government support, government enablers, the partnerships we talked about, getting the pipelines built, getting the rail and port infrastructure built. So working with His Excellency Madeifer, His Excellency Harif, Minister of Investment, Minister of Finance, Minister of Energy, all aligned on the critical mineral strategy of the kingdom, the strategy of the national champion Maaden. At the same time, bringing in talent to be able to do this. The partnerships, we're humble enough to realize we can't do this alone. That's why we're working with Gustavo and Sean from Vale and Vale Base Metals. That's why we have Bill Opplinger and Alcoa here. We just introduced a new partner with Hancock. We've got Ivanhoe Electric. We've got Barrick. So we're bringing the best talent and capability in here to help us do that.
And sorry to interrupt you, is that message as strong today as it was 5-10 years ago in terms of the need for bringing in that talent?
Absolutely.
Because you've got to develop talent yourselves here, and you have a pipeline to do that.
So with this growth pipeline ahead of us, this massive amount of construction and capital, I don't know if we've signed it yet, but we will sign this week, an owner-partner arrangement with Hatch to bring in thousands of project development engineers, project managers from one of the world's best EPCM firms. We just announced 7.8 million ounces of gold discoveries last year. That's just part, as Daryl Clark says, that's the first chapter of a great book. in exploration. So we've had one of the largest exploration programs globally for the last few years. We're going to triple it this year, but we can only probably accommodate internally about 30% of our portfolio. That's why we enlisted with Hancock. That's why we're growing our partnership with Ivanhoe. That's why we're growing our partnership with Barrick. And that's why we're talking to juniors and others this week to help complement our ability to explore the vast quantity in the kingdom.
It can't be getting easier getting new talent in, apart from the fact that I'm sure you offer very favorable terms for people, but we've just heard, among other mining organizations, it's a battle to find the talent anywhere,
Yep.
And let alone to build it and to hold on to it. So what sort of offer do you think Maaden provides in terms of drawing in that talent? Why would people want to come out to the desert when they're sitting at home thinking about whether they go and work for Google?
So there's three reasons. One is the opportunity. If you work for Maaden, you get to operate at the highest level of your craft, no matter whether it's me, Daryl in exploration, Donovan, Abdurrahman Sadlan is now responsible for the largest capital program in the history of mining. He's responsible for building and executing 7% of the capital projects in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The guy's in his 40s.
Right.
I just promoted my former chief of staff, Ahmed Al-Sheikh, another guy in his young 40s, to run our aluminum business. So the opportunities that we're enabling people to just operate at world-class scale rapidly and quickly is one thing we offer at Maaden. The other is the national pride. We're not the only nation builder. We're part of Vision 2030, whether it's Humane, Saudi Technology Company, Red Sea Global, Daria. There are so many opportunities here, but we're all part of something really cool. Vision 2030. So the pride of being part of that, then the impact. The stuff we're making, if we make half of our portfolio is phosphate fertilizers. You don't eat without us. So people can talk about copper and lithium and rare earths. Nobody cares about that if you haven't had breakfast. And then we've got aluminum. People say I look like I'm a tech CEO. Aluminum is a tech play. So the infrastructure of Saudi Arabia to become a data mining hub and an AI hub won't happen without me keeping up with the demand to electrify the kingdom. That's aluminum. And then gold, the OG mineral for us, the origin story, $4,500 an ounce today. Glad to have it. So the impact we're having, what we make, where we're making it, and how we're doing it, that's why you come to Maaden.
Right. I mean, you mentioned your attire, and that's no accident. You haven't just suddenly thrown something on. You know what you're doing. You know what you want to look like and what you want to project out there. One or two of your colleagues within Maaden have said we want to be seen as a tech company. Is that the direction you need to take? Because that's sort of turning your back on the mining tradition.
No, I don't think we want to be a tech company. We want to be a world champion. Okay. And in order to be a world champion, we've got to inculcate the culture, the values of a winning sports team. So it's not necessarily we're changing the image from a mining company to a tech company, but we're trying to change the image of a corporate industrial company to a sports team. So everything we talk about has a sports-related theme. We're fast-moving. We work as a team first. We collaborate. We're disciplined. And so the values we talk about, getting things done, no excuses. That's why we sponsor Aston Martin on Formula One. That's why we sponsor the Saudi.
You've got the car here, haven't you?
Yeah, we're trying to bring it to life for our employees so that they can't only be a passionate sports fan, but they can feel like they're part of a winning team.
But doing that, of course, is about putting Maaden as a name front and center, isn't it? You're on a car, you're on every jacket that's worn by the Aston Martin crew, for example. Is that the real strategy behind it, or is it actually that you're rebranding as a sort of...
Our whole rebrand effort that we launched last year was about people. So I need to hire 5,000 people to fill these, to not only find the minerals, build the plants and mines, but then staff them. So I need to hire at least 5,000 direct employees and probably 20,000 or more indirect employees in the next 5 years. I've got to work through the clutter of everything that's going on in the kingdom, 117 portfolio companies in the PIF, all offering great opportunities, a tourism industry, great opportunity, a legacy oil and gas powerhouse. So I'm competing in a very hot job market. At the same time, I'm going global and attracting global specialized skills, global executives that want to come here. I've got to be known. That's why we're out there. That's why we're changing the tone. That's why we're attracted. And 4 of my recent executive expat hires have told me, "Hey, Dad, we saw that name on the car. You should go talk to him." So it's just part of the overall people strategy where we're retooling, building up, developing a pipeline from the third graders on that want to be not only interested in mining, but interested in Maaden, then developing leaders and attracting talent.
You feel that beginning to filter through, sort of percolating, perhaps, in terms of people's understanding.
Nothing we are doing is by accident, believe me.
Okay, good point. Let me ask you this then. I brought it up a few minutes ago about the green transition. I have not been to every FMF, but I've been to the last 3. Yeah. And the green transition is the sort of big purpose as to why you're here. I mean, minerals is the 3rd pillar of the Saudi economy for that very reason, for a move to another age. And we've had some messages today which are really pushing that into out of the spotlight, let's say, to focus on other issues. And I just wonder where you feel about that.
Well, I feel like, I agree with what Sean said earlier, that we're not in conflict. I've been in this sector since 1999, and we have always had to uphold the highest standards of environmental health and safety in order to have the license to operate. So this is nothing new to mining. Now, where mining became interesting to the world is during the energy transition discussion a decade or so ago, where, hey, we're going to need this stuff. That demand signal, whether it's energy transition, is now transitioned to the AI revolution, or maybe national defense, or national security. I'm not so fussed about who's using it. I just know it's needed, and we all know it's needed now. So now how do we leverage the momentum that the green transition started for the sector and fulfill the requirements of whatever the end use is? But how we operate sustainably, responsibly, that hasn't changed. We have to do that.
Look, you're a guy in a hurry. I mean, Maaden is a company in a hurry. The kingdom is in a hurry to establish the positions you want to create. But partnership still lies at the heart, I think, of what you want to do and how you're going to do it. How central is that word in terms of your thinking now?
Well, speed and scale is behind everything we're doing. So there's 1,447 days to 2030. And I know that because I have the countdown clock outside my office. We have the countdown clock at the main entrance to the headquarters. So
well, I'm glad you've got a countdown clock, because otherwise that would be embarrassing to know that. That would be too geeky.
But the speed and scale is essential. So we are scaling up, but we're doing so responsibly. We want to partner with the best. So we're not in a hurry, but we're being thoughtful. And, we met with Hancock in June. We are kicking off the JV now. I don't know if that's the right time frame, but that's the level of pace we're looking at. Copley was up here talking about the partnership with MP Materials and the Department of Defense. Yeah. That conversation started in May. By November, $250 million were coming into the project from the U.S. government. Yeah. So that's the kind of pace we're talking about.
That's a good message, perhaps, on which to end the point that you are on a new strategy and a new drive. Bob, thank you very much indeed once again for pushing that out there to our audience here, for being with us this morning.
Absolutely.
Bob Wilt, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Bob.
All right.
Take care.